Chiellini, vuole dimistrare la testa, Nedved sta solo, Nedved al limite dell'area, li fa fuori tutti, Nedved, si apre la porta, Nedved, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Goodbye, Chiellini.
There you go. Little
Next time you'll have the full
Giorgione to kick it off with a little guitar salute from our man Omer. We got Anthony as well. Look at everybody already alive here, ready to say it. It's bittersweet day for sure. Another Juve match day, but of course, nothing really to play for, but just getting ready for a couple of farewells. And guys, we have a ton of news to cover and stuff to discuss in terms of Juventus potential scenarios with the mercato and everything. Oh, where do we start? We're going to get into Chiellini. We're going to get into Dybala and all this and whatnot. But obviously, let's talk Pogba, which is big. Very, very big right now. Obviously, meetings happening with his entourage and whatnot. And put this question out there, and it's just, what's a mercato you would be happy with if you saw Juventus achieve this summer? Okay. But before we get there, obviously, Pogba, there's a discreet confidence were the words exactly used by Fabiana Della Valle, who was the first to report the Vlahovic deal and whatnot. So Pogba, discreet confidence there from Juve. We got to remember that we have that growth decree that could be of advantage to Juventus in trying to make that move, even if it is slightly lower than what PSG can offer. Muriel, an alternative to Morata, and that's coming out lately as well. So we're going to start off here with Paul Pogba and the potential Muriel move and what you guys think of that. And Omer, with the guitar tribute to Chiellini, kick us off, man.
Thanks, Frank Zappa.
Okay. You're welcome. Look, I've been serenading all day in front of Chiellini's videos, maybe even shedding a tear. Hard. Muriel, I have no problem with it, to be honest. He's like the best super sub in the world, still is. Problem is when he starts games, he's just not the same type of player. But that's what we're aiming for, right? Like, Morata isn't planned to be a starter next season. He's sort of a rotational guy, so I have no problem replacing him with another guy who knows the league, who played at top levels here and there and have some experience. I'm fine with it, to be honest.
All right.
What about Pogba? I believe his entourage is meeting right now at Juventus. Or today.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, if it's not already happening, it's happening very, very soon.
It started. They reported it started already.
Yeah. See, and your thoughts on Pogba there, Omer?
Pogba, it's a tough one. I've said it in the previous episode. Like, Savic is the one we want, but Pogba looks like a bit of an easier deal because you don't have to deal with anyone besides him. And it looks like he's pretty much set. Real, Man City, only Paris are in the picture at the moment, and it doesn't look like he tends to go there. So if that's what we have, that's fine. It's better than everything we have right now. And so that's it. I still love Pogba. I have no problem with it, and he has to prove that he's worth what he's asking for.
Yeah, we need to be careful here because we were chatting earlier on. There is a potential that we get neither Pogba or Milinkovic-Savic. So people say, I don't want Pogba, I want Milinkovic-Savic. Well, guess what? There's a good chance you're not going to get either one of them. Because I don't think...
or both.
You get both?
Might. We don't know.
I think we have a better chance of getting both than losing both. Wait,
I think the reason Pogba is such a priority is the fact there's no transfer fee. and
But
the work we have to do around it. It's not just like we need one position, two positions. Like you need a left back, you potentially need center back, maybe even two. You need wingers. I think that's kind of the reasoning. Like I put forth this mercato because I could see them probably trying to fit something to this mold. It doesn't have to essentially be these players, but I'm thinking like I'm come to terms with Di Maria coming in. So Di
that's
Maria,
happening.
his wages probably replacing Rabiot's if they can find a deal for Rabiot. So you've got a smooth transition there, at least salary wise. Pogba coming in. Then I had Gatti, who we already own. Then I have a loan to purchase deal for Raspadori. And then I have Milinkovic, the center back from Fiorentina, as last contract year for him. And then Udogi for 15 million euros. And then Fagioli, of course, in as another midfielder. If that were a scenario or something, I think it's going to be something close to that mold, obviously, because a lot of that is guys we already own. And you throw in a couple free transfers on there, but I think that makes a big difference. You've got money outgoing, making Chiesa deal final and everything like that. We're not really sure of the exact number, but if you brought in Milinkovic-Savic, who we all want, let's be serious here. If you brought him in, you have a lot less that you can do outside of that. A lot less.
See, when you line it up like that, it's almost like that's a good scenario because there's not like world earth-shattering transfers in there, but they make sense. They make financial sense. They make sense in terms of filling out the roster. I think we should be happy with a summer market like that. But I think a lot of Juve fans are going to be upset if we get neither SMS or Pogba, but we still complete a lot of those things that you say, which in reality is how this market might work out. And also Arriva Bena's words last week were, hey, don't expect any big splashes this summer, which come on.
Look, there's always the option. All we're talking about is, straight deals that the money is given and a player comes in. We can still talk about, for those players, the same type of Locatelli Chiesa deal. Sign Udogi for 5 million and pay the rest in next summer or in 2 seasons, which is also an option of leveling the budget without after buying someone for a lot of money. And this management has done that before, so let's wait and see.
Yeah, what would we rate that mercato? The one that we just presented here. So Animesh says, what would you rate? What would you rate it? Everybody that's here on the live right now, what would you guys rate it? Let's see what Ant would rate it and what Omer would rate it.
So who's coming in? Go just blast through it again.
Pogba, Di Maria, Raspadori, and then Gatti, Fagioli, who we already own, and Udogi.
And Rabiot and Arthur are going out?
Yeah, Rabiot and one other midfielder. Sandro. Let's say Sandro's out, either buyout or find a deal.
That's a 9.5. You get the other half point. They'll get the other half point for me if they fix J Medical. 10 out of 10.
I said that could be the biggest signing of the summer is that new medical staff. Something's got to change
100%.
here. So Georg comes in with a 7 for that mercato. Jeremiah comes in with an 8 and whatnot. So those are decent scores for mercato. So
let me put it to the group chat. What's a 10? What is a 10? A realistic 10. Don't give me this whole.
And that's the biggest thing. When I put that post out and I said, this is realistic. It's a realistic. So Luis dropping a 9.5 there. If you subtract Di Maria, I think I'm coming to terms with him coming in here, to be honest.
I give it a 10, Al. That's a 10 for me. Easy.
I think it's a positive. I think it's, we can't say that Di Maria wouldn't bring an element that would help those younger guys coming in. Pogba is an instant boost to that midfield. Instantly. So I don't know.
I
I'm kind
give
of
it
okay
a
with that. Omar, what do you rate that? What would you rate that mercato? What would you be looking for elsewhere or whatnot?
I'm more leaning towards George with the 7 because
Too much sun today.
no, it depends on who leaves. And you're going in with that mercato. You're going in with 4 CBs: Bonucci, De Ligt, Rugani, and Gatti. Gatti is not something I'd rate, highly because he still needs to prove that he's up to that level. He might be a flop, and then we're left with 2 center backs and 2 that we don't want to see on the pitch. So the jury is still out on that one. But in hindsight, it might be a 10 out of 10 mercato. But we still need to see if Sandro stays and we have to give him minutes because of his salary. Then doesn't matter who you buy for left back. We're still stuck for next season. But I like judging mercatos, in hindsight and not before, because it really depends on who leaves. If all these guys come in, but De Ligt leaves, then how do you rate that mercado then?
De Ligt. Speaking of De Ligt, so interesting little presser there from Max as we get ready for the last match, and talking about how the team's just grown in terms of personality from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And honestly, like, it's not going to be a lot that we're going to be able to see in that front. So, that's more behind the scenes, I think, in certain matches and whatnot. Maybe you start to see it come through. I still think there's a lot of work to do. And if you're going to be having a big change of personnel through a summer, it's going to be something that's going to continuously need work. So that part of it's still going to need work next season. So we're going to have to wait and see. I do like the fact that he finally drove that fucking stake in the ground and said next season the objective is win the Scudetto. Okay, so that's good. It's got to be up there, but realistically, if you have a mercado that goes like this and you see that amount of change, are we there? Are we thinking that it's not going to be that big a boost? I say, second year for Max, even if you have that much change, a preseason and then get going with the season, I expect us to be in the mix top 2 there and fighting for that Scudetto. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
The Scudetto should be the goal every year. We sort of gave him a pass this year. A lot of the Max lovers. Again, I'm right down the middle. I may swing one way or the other depending on next season. I think that World Cup is going to give a lot of fodder to whether the Allegri in or the Allegri out people next year, depending on how the team reacts to that, because you're going to have half the team sitting idle because they haven't announced anything. Sort of, maybe they'll do friendlies against Serie B teams or something, but you're going to have half the team idle and half the team out, and then that team that's on the World Cup, they need some sort of break coming back, right? They typically have a break, but then again, it's mid-season, right? They're fully fit. They should be able just to come back. They're playing at the most 7 games. I don't think there's less excuses next year. He's gonna have a fully fit team, and he can't stumble out of the blocks. Absolutely cannot stumble out of the blocks like we did this year. And if he does, then I'm going to be putting that more on him than the players.
Yeah.
You said he doesn't have less excuses. He has 0 excuses. He used all of them. And he got his basically 1.5 mercados that he needed. We brought in some of the best players in the league, assuming everything else said would happen.
Oh man, he's got some good points, but he's cutting in and out. Omer, hello.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
So I want to talk about De Ligt now because, again, we're talking about Allegri's presser and whatnot. And I want to talk about basically, should Bonucci be that captain next season? And I said for me, it's not a surprise. No surprise whatsoever with that. But heading into next season,
I feel really short.
especially trying to get De Ligt on a renewal.
Yeah.
And even if it's not De Ligt, how do you feel about Bonucci? Because it's strange when, Max even comes out and cracks a joke, says, well, if he wants the armband, he's going to have to go buy one at the market or whatever. And I guess he must have found one and purchased it, because next season, here comes Bonucci. Any thoughts on the Bonucci as a captain?
Okay. If everybody watched the all or nothing, can't remember what it's called, the All or Nothing, the most recent one, Bonucci addressed that. He addressed the fact. He said, "Okay, I know I left. It was a bad situation. He owned it. He owned it. He left, and then he came back." A lot of people really put a big X on him for that. I think it's tougher to leave, and then he came back. He dragged his ass back into the club, and he owned it. Everybody makes mistakes. That was a Champions League final that was lost. A lot of stuff happened in that change room, which we still don't even know, which is weird. But I have more respect for him that he left. And okay, he celebrated a goal in Juventus Stadium. Whatever. I would have done the exact same thing. But that's me. And you, Al, you would have done the same thing too. And
I would have never left.
Came back. He came back. I think it takes bigger bowling balls to come back and own something like that than to just kind of shrivel away and hide from it and not address it. He addressed it. He owned it. If he's the captain next year, I have no problems with that. I would pick De Ligt, but if they give it to Bonucci,
I think, I don't think this is more a personal issue whatsoever. Like, I get everything you're saying. I agree with it all. But I think it's just that feeling of, you've been there, you've done that, and it's time to kind of move forward. And it's time to start ushering in the new wave. And if you've got a guy like De Ligt there that is ready and whatnot, I mean, it almost even feels natural. Plus, what a strong sign for a guy that, in my personal opinion, Juventus should do everything to extend. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to take a little offering like that to kind of help seal that deal and show to him where we stand from our side of it, I don't see why not, especially if Bonucci could potentially, depending on a center back target that Juventus brings in, could potentially play the role that Chiellini played this season and last season, which is
that's what Jeremiah's saying here.
Kind of used, intermittently, like in bigger matches when called upon and whatnot. Then I even see another reason to maybe go a different route. Omer, what's your stance on the whole captaincy thing? Would you go Bonucci? Would you maybe give it to De Ligt?
Me personally, I would give it to De Ligt, but I can see the other side of it. The player that has been this long with the club, and as a manager, to come to him and say, "Look, you're not going to be the captain. We're going to give it to this 22-year-old who's been here for 3 years." I can see the problem with that. I couldn't do it, probably on a personal level. So it must go, unfortunately, to Bonucci. I don't see him being, the Chiellini type guy. He's more of a, hard-nosed on the field and off the field. And I just don't think he's that smart, to be honest. Like, he has a lot of instances in his career where he just said dumb stuff that he didn't think about what the outcome is, even leaving to Milan. So I don't know. He's a weird character. Chiellini could have shifted between those characteristics of being on the pitch, this hard-nosed guy, and this friendly character off the pitch, which a lot of players liked. I believe Del Piero was the same. Buffon was the same. I don't think Bonucci is that type of person. From what I've seen from the Amazon documentary, there is no other option. Let's be honest. No manager has the balls to tell him, "You're not the captain, but you are a starter. This kid is going to be the captain."
Yeah.
Is there another option?
Cuadrado, Danilo, Chesney, you can throw it out there, but we've seen all of these guys captain at the side this season. Almost all.
Locatelli, Chiesa.
Once again, 1 year, 2 years at the club, ahead of someone who's been here for a decade. It's a bit unfair. I can see Bonucci's standpoint.
But would you put those other young guys in front of De Ligt?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Like I've got Delict up there. I also have Danilo up there, and I see Rash like right on cue is with what I'm thinking because Danilo's a guy. What 3 years? He's going into third year with Juve.
Fourth. It will be
Fourth. He's going into his fourth. Yeah, so he's been here 3 years.
Sorry. Yeah, fourth season.
And I think like there's so much more to it that even the time frame is something like when you're just looking at this team, Danilo, he gives a lot that strikes as captaincy. Locatelli not there, Chiesa I don't think is there, but Delict, Danilo, those are guys I'd be looking to. People will make shouts for Quadrado. Quadrado sticking around. He's worn the armband a couple times this season even, but yeah, Leo's gonna get it and no issues. But again,
does it even matter?
Make Delict that vice. You gotta do something. I see it as a wave, like a sign for Delict. I think we need to renew this guy. There's criticisms floating around amongst our fan base about this guy, but make no mistake, like we gotta lock this guy up. You got to lock this guy up. There's no doubt about it.
Excuse me. The criticisms are just, I don't quite understand, but
yeah,
that's another story. Just
we'll see. So
like, what do people want? What do people want?
That's why we tried to get what they feel like, what they think's a successful mercato. You have a lot of shouts for like Badiashile now, this young center back from Monaco, whatnot, and it's like. Have a lot of people seen the kid play and whatnot. He is actually he's a unit and would be a solid landing. But again, it's the financials. Like Juve's gonna have a tricky mercato to try and manage it all. I think it all starts in the middle of the park and then it'll go outwards from there as far as what they do. You just simply can't avoid this midfield any longer. And you just need that guy that's going to come in here that's going to be a massive boost. Now there's contrasting opinions on whether or not Paul Pogba can be that guy. The biggest thing for him is he's going to have to stay healthy. And then there's that whole thing where everybody's battling this thing saying, why are we going older? We were supposed to be going younger. And why are we going from not signing Dybala due to injuries to now looking at Pogba as a priority? And fair criticisms, to be honest, fair. But again, I just think with so much needed, you can't have it all those ways. Because now, if it's Pogba or SMS, who else do you put in that mix that wouldn't cost you as much as Sergei Milinkovic-Savic? Szoboszlai is a good prospect. He's a younger kid. There's talking that he might be a second edition in the middle of park, which would be fantastic. But there's nobody on those particular levels for me outside of those two. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting summer, right? I getting back to the Delict thing, I don't know what people want here. That one's just, it makes my eyeball hurt for some reason when people talk nonsense like that. But when it comes to age, Lou put out our AJC member Lou put out a tweet the other day. Real Madrid is in the Champions League final with an average age, actually both teams, average age of 28, 29. You're not going to make it to the Champions League final with an average age of 22. You're not. You're not going to do it. You need a healthy mix. I see a lot of people that don't agree with bringing in Di Maria. I think Di Maria would be fabulous addition for the younger guys. But it's balance. You have to balance the roster out, balance in the middle. Which Al, how many times have you said this year? We just do not have. So I think young, old, balanced. If you have an average age between 26 and 28, it's a good thing. And Szoboszlai, young kid, Di Maria, very old. We get it. But it's good for those young guys to play alongside and practice, more importantly, practice alongside guys who've been there, who've been on the big stage. I just don't think that sort of experience and passing that down to young guys, I don't think people understand how important that is behind the scenes. Very important. Like, look at Delict. He learned from two of the greatest of all time. Look at this kid. he's going to take that for the rest of his career.
Yeah. Now there's a lot coming in saying Szoboszlai is not a midfielder. He's played as an attacking mid, supporting strikers, and he's played up front across a front three. Like, that's the nice thing about Szoboszlai. Extremely versatile. But there's just these are just rumors that are going around. Omer.
So does Thomas Muller, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, but they do play as CMs for their teams, and they're doing great. The fact that he's written as CAM in FIFA doesn't mean he can't play there. Look, there were some names during the season that popped up and disappeared, like Eric mentioned here, Fratesi, Sanchez. But if there's something we've learned from the past 2 or 3 seasons, that these negotiations take a lot of time. So Pogba and SMS are the ones that we've been asking about for more than a little while, and we were linked to them for like 2 or 3 years now, I believe, and suddenly dropping it all and going for someone you haven't talked about might take a lot more time than we anticipate. These things just don't happen very fast as it used to. So maybe that's the reason we're sticking to him, and they look like the most logical ones, because like half of the way there has already been done. And starting from scratch at this point of the season, where other teams have the advantage of starting negotiations, like Milan are almost signing Renato Sanchez, getting into these negotiations. At this point, they're far more ahead of us. Lucatelli took forever to sign. I don't know, it was 2 or 3 months of meetings and stuff. So you got to be careful with these guys, and not dropping off just everyone you see, everyone you don't like. And let's be honest, in the end, every signing is a gamble. You can have pros and cons to each and every one of them. I said it before, if Del Piero was a youngster in Italy today, half of the fan base would have reasons why to not sign him. But history proves otherwise. No one knew who Pogba was when he came to Juve. And now we all
he was a
want
kid
him
who was
back.
late for practice all the time.
Yeah, and Juve straightened him up. Some of these injuries he had were just related to managers. Mourinho didn't want to play him, and they covered it like we did with Ramsey. They covered it under injury. So once again, it's on him to prove that he's worth what he's asking for, and that he's still a top-tier midfielder like we think he is.
Yeah.
11 million a season. That's a lot of salad, though.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. As far as some of those other names, people are mentioning, Fratesi, Renato Sanchez, I still don't put them up to SMS or Pogba. There's still a big, big gap there. And that's what I'm saying is like, just those other guys are a cut above. Pogba, especially when he's on, and this is the risk. There is risk with Pogba, but there is a risk in any way you slice this mercato for Juventus, okay? Because either you try and spread it out, or you try to go younger and save even more money. Is it enough? You can even bring Pogba in, and then with what you bring around, like we painted a scenario with that one mercato that's decent, well balanced and whatnot. That is a risk that it's not enough. You can like dump all the money into SMS, bring them in. You might not be able to fill around. That's a risk. There's risk any way you cut it. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. And Cherubini and Arrivabene are going to earn their paycheck this summer, and hopefully they do a lot of good things for us. Jeremiah's coming in here with something for us before we get into the trivia here. The Nedved debacle after the final was absolutely unnecessary. Why add salt to the wound? This is not what we fans want to see. Clearly shows all is not well at the top. Panels.
Is it though?
Thoughts. So,
do we not want to see?
Why don't you kick us off on this one?
Yeah. So do fans not want to see that? I don't know. I don't want to see people come into that final going, well, too bad. You guys. Oh, shucks, guys. You gave it your all. No, I like how Nedved went in there and said, what the hell was that to the coach? Because he is upper management, like it or not. And people say, oh, what's his role? His role is essentially he bridges the gap between the management and the players, right? He's sort of that that filler in that sort of space. So that is his role. That is his role, to be down there saying, no idea what the hell that was. And he has every right to question Allegri in that. And Al, you brought up a couple times, he was part of the team that wanted Allegri out the first time. So it's not surprising that he's saying this, but the owner always wins. Don't be surprised if Pavel's not here come July.
Yeah, and I think, with Pavel, there's a lot going on in the background too. Like, he has an offer from the Czech Football Federation, so there's that. But this is the thing. You can put Pavel Nedved in a suit. He's not a suit. Okay, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's 1000% Bianconero, and he shows it. He shows it every time he's in the stands. He shows it in his dealings. We saw it in All or Nothing. He's still like one of those guys in the locker room. Whether you agree with that's how he needs to present himself or that's how he needs to act in that role, that is who he is. You can stuff the guy in a suit. He isn't a suit. I said it, and Ant just reiterated it. You have one of your vice presidents, they make a stand, they make a move, they want to go elsewhere from Allegri. You have completely flipped it and said, okay, no, what you were trying was not good enough. And Yeli went and took the reign. At that point, Paratici and Nedved should have been gone if that's what Agnelli's decision was, because you have completely contradicted them and just basically null and voided their opinions, their thoughts, and everything. You've completely gone against them. So you either clean house and go elsewhere with a new direction and look, but he wanted to keep that there, and that will always be there. You've literally, like, you're shitting on his opinion and their decisions and everything by bringing Max back, and that heat is always going to be there. And the second it starts to go sideways, Nedved's going to let his thoughts, be heard. Hey, this is the exact same shit in 2019 we wanted out of. And here we are all over again. It's awkward. It's a dysfunctional mess that we created ourselves. It is what it is. I would not be surprised, and like Ant says, in the end, the owner always wins. I think Nedved's going to be gone. I think Nedved, that
Omer?
might be kind of it. But Omar, why don't you weigh in here?
No, I don't understand why you need to be angry with Nedved. He voiced everything that happened on Twitter, on social media. Basically, he went into the dressing room after the final and said everything that each one of us wanted to say. So because he's an executive, he's not entitled of his opinion, and being angry when the team that he grew and loved and went to Serie B with and everything loses the final to its bitter rivals. You expect him to stay, like poker face, all is good, hug everyone. There are people who do that, but you need the counter, someone to voice all the problems that he sees. That's what being an executive is. So he's sort of a fan. I gotta be honest, I don't like the faces he makes when he sits up on the stands and the camera is on him, but what he does in the dressing room, totally fine with it. That's what he should do. That's his job. Point out what is wrong and then discuss how to fix it. And football is a sport that has tons of emotions, and we can't expect the people who owns the club and actually loses money when the club loses to have no emotions at all. It should be bad.
But these things happen all the time in any business. People think like, oh, just because you wear a suit or you're a CEO or VP, don't argue. This shit happens all the time. Like, don't kid yourselves. Any business that I've actually seen it, it's wild when it does happen. But the second thing is the 5 samurai who went down to Stadium B have earned the right to stay in that change room. And there's that video that goes around every once in a while with the coach slapping the players. Those 5 guys can go into that change room anytime and smack the shit out of any players they want. They can do, in my eyes, those 5 guys can do whatever they want in that stadium. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
They can't do any wrong.
Garrick saying on the Nedved topic, if I recall well, his final home game is, as is with Chiellini, was against Lazio as well. And I'm saying Nedved at least shows some passion. Loss to Merda should be unacceptable. There's a lot of unacceptables in the season. Next season, the unacceptables just have to be there's zero tolerance.
Look, he's just frustrated
earlier.
He's frustrated from the season. Are we any different? That's when, the final nail in the coffin that made him snap in the dressing room. I can totally understand that. I feel the same.
And to be honest, I said this on the last show too. If we're being 100% truthful, Nedved and Paratici decided to go another route, and both of the routes that Agnelli didn't agree with, and I'll agree that Sarri should have been moved on when he was, but both of those guys delivered trophies. They delivered some type of positives, right? So a lot of us still waiting to see the positives that will come, but there's a foundation laid. Let's see what happens. Eric, I do agree with his point here. Going into next year, when we're talking mercato and players, his biggest concern is just to make sure that our players are playing their positions. No more hybrids. And we've been talking about that a lot too, is just keep it simple. Keep it simple and just get the guys where they need to be in their familiar roles, and let's get cooking. Zero patience next season. We got to get her going. Now,
True.
Everybody, take a second, like the video, okay? Want to see maximum amount of likes, okay? Appreciate all the support. We're like less than 50 subs away, okay, from 2K. We're going to hit it by end of the season. We got one match to go. Let's go. Be a friend, tell a friend, share the content. I appreciate all the great comments you guys are putting in videos too, and just thanking us for all the work and whatnot. We love it. We love doing it. Have a great time. It's awesome. And good luck to all of you, because later on this week, we're going to finally give away this bad boy to one lucky subscriber. So good luck to all of you.
I subscribe.
Now,
am I in? I subscribe. Am I automatically in?
Yeah, we're all in. It just automatically goes to somebody, though. Come on. Come on. And everybody, okay, time to celebrate King Kong himself, and Striped Hearts Apparel added again, dropping this bad boy. Tees and hoodies available now. Celebrate the true warrior and legend, King Kong, okay, available now on their site. Now, time for some trivia, fellas. Let's go. Let's get at it. Everybody in the live, you guys ready?
I need my coffee. I need coffee for this. All right.
Okay. So obviously we got a few goodbyes, and the trivia today is going to be focused on that. Just a few questions. Have a little fun here. Dybala.
No.
Made his debut against what team?
Lazio. Lazio, Super Copa final. Him and Mandzukic scored.
Beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff.
Omer said.
I'll give you another one. It's the last time since Vlahovic and Zakaria, the two new signings scored in their first match.
We got to one of the other questions, which was part of their farewells.
Oh,
but
sorry.
What team did Chiellini make his debut against?
Oh, that's a bit. I can't remember it.
Well, that one was too easy. Dybala one. So let's go now, hot shot.
I'll go. What was it? 2004, 5. Okay, it was.
Hang on, I gotta hide the chat here.
Yeah, I'll hide the chat too. I'll just throw out a bit. I'll go with.
Yes, Animesh for Juve. Chiellini's debut for Juventus. Who was it against?
I'll say Fiorentina. It's like his old club.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Fiorentina too. But if you're saying that, I'll go with Sampdoria. It's a bet. I have no idea.
It was against Messina.
Who even knows?
He came in against Messina. Who did Chiellini substitute out when he entered the match?
Has to be either Zabina, Zambrotta, Giuliano, Turan. I'm just throwing all.
Did you want to name the subs too, there, Omer?
No, I'm just throwing out all the fullbacks we had. Probably it was a left back, so probably one of them. Although all of them were right backs. Adrian Muto, I don't know. Nedved. I can throw out the whole team. Once again, I have no idea.
Why don't you just pick one?
Oh, I have to pick one? I thought I covered
Just
everyone.
one, man, not the whole team.
Okay, Zambrotta.
Sounds good.
Jat
No,
coming in with
no,
Crescito
no,
or Allegro
no.
Italia. Leo coming in with Del Piero. It was
Bazzaretti.
Pavel Nedved
Damn
that
it.
subbed off,
Is it really?
and Chiellini came in for Pavel Nedved.
Well, we might see it again soon with Nedved going off and Chiellini replacing him.
Where does
That's a good point.
where does Dybala rank on the all-time scorers list for Juventus?
If someone
Just-
says 9th, I'm going to smack him in the mouth.
Oh, he just cracked the top 10. No, he.
He's behind Baggio. He's
Uh,
not ahead of Baggio. He's behind. He's top 10. I think he's 9th. Whatever Baggio is, he's one behind.
I think he's number 10.
Don't put him ahead of Baggio. Don't even.
They are
think about
tied
it.
at how many goals? Baggio and Dybala are tied.
115. 115.
115th. They are tied for 10th on the all-time Juventus list.
Baggio
10th
did it in
along
100
with
less games.
Baggio.
So don't even give me the.
Let's get into trophy hauls. This one's going to be fairly easy one, not, but Chiellini. How many Super Copas has Chiellini won?
4.
I was
No,
gonna say 3.
no, 4. I'm going
We
with
had
4.
we had 9 shots at it there. He had 9 cracks at it.
Yeah, but we won it 4 times in a row, and then we had 4.
I'm sticking with Omer on this one. I'll go 4 as well.
Maybe he has one early in his career in 2000.
Jeremiah taking this one with 5.
5. Yeah,
5 Super Copas. How many Coppa Italias?
of course 5. He has one with Pirlo. Damn it.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah,
Omer.
Omer,
We're on
take
the
it
Coppa
easy. It's just-
Italias. Let's go.
Yes.
How many Coppa Italia?
You get so mad. Oh, come on.
5. Because I knew it. 5.
5 Coppa Italias. How many Scudetti?
He has, including 06. So he
10.
has 11. 11.
11. Yeah. 10 or 11? Oh, 4 or 5. Yeah. So it'd be 11. 11 on the field.
Yeah.
11 on the field. I like that. 11 on the field. Sul campo. Sul campo. Now, that's how many times has Chiellini won Defender of the Year for Serie A?
Oh.
3, 4, maybe. No, you know what? I'm going on a limb here. 7.
Defender of the year?
Yeah.
2 or 3? I can't remember him winning a whole bunch. I'm going to say 3.
He did it
2.
3 consecutive seasons.
Ooh.
Did he? Okay, so 3.
08,
I'm sticking with 3.
08, 09, and 2010. He won it 3 years running in those seasons. How many times has he won Juventus Player of the Year?
Man, those
2.
are some good teams he was on.
2 for me.
Yeah, I'll say 3.
Once. 2008.
That,
He was Juve Player of the Year. That's
just
it.
the once?
That's I know it's kind of sharp, but he's been on some loaded teams. Loaded teams.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's a lot of fun. Live chat getting in there, doing a great job as well. And there you go. There you go.
What? No,
Not as
no
many as he
Dybala
should
trivia?
have. Feels like it could be the answer for a lot of those. Not as many as he should have. But still, you could see a very, very incredible career. It's going to be tough saying goodbye, but we all feel the same way. He will be a part of Juventus, whether he goes to LAFC, which is the latest rumors. And honestly, I'm kind of for that because I wouldn't mind going and catching a game and seeing Chiellini rock some of those guys in MLS and then get back to Juve, where home is. Let's go. Paulo, we had a couple questions for Paulo. Luca, take it easy. Okay? Take it easy. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. So, Lucci's saying, who cares? Oh, Jesus, you guys are tough. You guys are tough. Paulo's going to be, obviously his career. Everybody's still waiting to see what happens if he goes there and whatnot. You can feel any way you want about it. It is what it is. Paulo's given us a lot of great moments too. So it's going to be tough for both these guys, but definitely time to move on. I think with Giorgio for sure. Paulo one can be debated and whatnot for sure. I just see that relationship that went sour, and it hasn't been right for years, if we're being honest. Like, I mean, we can go back 3 years and say it's been a little bit off, and it is what it. This dates back to even while Max was still around with the club. It's been a little weird, but
you can't deny that
suck.
he's been right there as one of our best players, right there for his entire tenure here at Juventus. And you can't. I know Daniel here, AJC member Daniel Lucci here, talks about Dybala who. That's asinine to me. I gotta say right to Daniel because he's one of our team members. You're an idiot. This guy has been like one of our best players, and I love Daniel. You know what I mean? But you're an idiot. He's one of our best players for his whole time here. I understand the injury thing, but let's get serious. Like we are gonna miss this guy. He's gonna be tough to replace. He's up on the wall, right over there on the back. He deserves all the respect for what he's done on the field for Juventus up to this point. It's a shame that his last game is the same as Chiellini's, who's just a club legend, like massive legend over top of Dybala. I agree with that, but I just hope that he gets a positive reaction when he leaves the field today. I'd hate to see him leave the field with any sort of negativity from the fans. Because if Lucci was there, he would be booing his ass off. Yeah. And I don't agree with that. I hope he gets a send-off that he deserves when he leaves today. Because he's earned it.
Yeah. Luca, I hope you recorded that because Lucci is notorious for recording clips and whatnot. Luca, you got to copy that clip. Lucci, you're an idiot. That's beautiful. Beautiful. It's just overshadowed because of Chiellini.
I agree.
And right, I mean, it was bound to happen, but it's still a tough goodbye. And Dybala's words on Instagram, I mean, the post was amazing. On Twitter, like 4 or 5 in a thread there, just thanking everybody. The guy's, he's been a professional. And, a lot of the stuff that we've heard about Paulo and all this and whatnot, like you've never actually seen it from him. He
hasn't said a word this whole time.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Never seen him go in any other direction than how he's conducted himself even as of late. On the pitch, sure, but that happens. That's everybody. Like when people want to talk about, either getting fired up about being subbed off and his attitude here and there, like that's just part of the game. And, if you're even worth your weight to be out there, you're going to be upset at getting subbed off. And Ant said it perfectly. He's been one of our best. When we brought him in, in 15-16, he's top 10 in scoring. He's top 3 for foreigners, I believe, for scores for Juventus. Like he's done his job, and I think he treated the 10 well. He
has said less stupid stuff into a microphone than Bonucci, and we want to make Bonucci the captain. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, because. Right? Like, what are we talking about here? He's been so professional during all this. Whatever's happened behind the scenes, maybe it is all his fault. It could be. But the club and the player have not said anything. He put out that nice post, like you said, on Instagram. Farewell. I'm not going to wish you luck if you go to Inter. He could just piss right off. But
let's be serious, too. That mask, Selly, is pretty money. Like, I love the mask. I love the mask. Now, Omer, before we get into this, and your thoughts, with Dybala and whatnot, it's I don't know. It's just it's a tough one. Lucci always goes hard. There he is. Finally. Right here. Lucci's alive. Taking some heat right now, but it's all good. Before we get into this, like we literally are behind in goals, pretty much what Ronaldo produced last season. And now all of a sudden, losing Dybala, that's going to be tough too. It's going to be tough on top of it, and that's why this mercato gets very, very crucial and critical for Juventus. And is anything that we can do enough? Like, that's a legit fear and concern. I wasn't worried about losing Ronaldo because I thought, okay, we'll pick it up as a group. Definitely was not the case. But Dybala had good numbers for his showings and everything. So it's going to be very, very interesting to deal with this. But Omer, your thoughts on that front and replacing him, and your thoughts on just his tenure with Juventus?
Look, we need to stop acting like no big player ever left his club in his prime and the club has crumbled. I think it's just nature doing its thing, what we refuse to do. It's time for Dybala. We need to move on. It's been fun. He's been awesome. Like I've said in the past, he's an icon. He had some great times. I have fantastic memories from him, and that's what all great players leave you with. It's just great memories. But sooner or later, they do have to leave, and maybe it's better that they do before you have to sort of push them out, like happened with some of the players that we had in recent years, like Matuidi, Higuain, that it just became, ugly on the field. And I don't want Dybala to go through that. I wish him almost all the best. I would have wished him all the best if it wasn't for Inter, but still, he's done a fantastic job. We need to move on. Same with Chiellini. It might be a blessing in disguise. That's what I think it's going to be. Number 10s are dead in today's football. No team uses them, no top team, at least. And Dybala is just, 10, 15 years ago, might have won a Ballon d'Or even. But in this day and age, you can't be, that much of a, let's say, drama queen, because I saw someone using it here, or have everything surrounding you. It's just what takes teams down. So I think it's going to be better for the club. It may take some time to readjust. But, Ronaldo left Real Madrid in his prime, maybe more prime than when he left Juve. And 3 seasons later, they're in the Champions League final. It's all good. Zidane left. We picked it up the next season after. So it is what it is. Nature doing its thing. It had to happen sooner or later. So let's just look forward and not linger on the past too much.
Well said.
Yeah, you can. We're all with that. And I mean, we've seen excellent players leave Juventus. There was different feelings amongst all of those great players that passed, though, because the next were already in place and in line. And actually, I would argue a cut above the guys that we have currently in place. We have a good, strong foundation, good core, but it's not the same. It's not the same with some of those guys that passed previously. And there was guys, serious characters that were just ready and going. This has been something that Lewis and I have talked a lot about. And when you look at this Juventus side and you go through that decade of dominance, but they just haven't had, and it's tough to find, but we were always spoiled with incredible characters. And it's finally come to the point where, man, we're out of the Buffons, the Chiellinis, the the Barzaglis. When you went from Ravanelli, Baggio, Vialli, and you had Del Piero just coming in right there, hot and ready to go and whatnot. But he was a youngster as well. But again, those are rare finds. So Chiesa and Vlahovic next season, the pressure is ramped up, no doubt. In back-to-back seasons, you go and lose CR and Dybala, and yeah, there's going to be even more weight on those guys, and I hope they can bring it and sort it out and drive this team forward. We do need that general in the middle and somebody that can, seriously create, and we got to ramp up Vlahovic's service and get it going. But big loss. But overall, we'll be fine.
We always are.
Yeah, we'll be good. And I always continue to say this. If you look at the other clubs in Serie A and you look at the other bigger clubs in Serie A, when they've had to go in transition, they fell completely off the map. Okay, completely off the map. Juve's, it shows our strength in the fact that we've gone into a ridiculous transition, a transitional phase we didn't even have guidelines for almost, and just kind of we've gone on tilt. I think we've gone on tilt trying to search for this new era and new identity that we want to be and whatnot. And yeah, we just started flipping on ourselves. You see the dysfunction at the top, but we still remain in that mix. And that's,
oh, by the way, tilt is a pinball reference for all
Yes.
those kids who have never played a pinball machine. That's actually a pinball machine reference. You're welcome.
yeah, on tilt. But we remain. Okay.
You're so
today-
old, man.
I used to love playing pinball, man.
Today, Juve Lazio, 4-2-3-1 projected. Szczesny, De Sciglio, Bonucci, Chiellini, Pellegrini,
No
Miretti,
Deschilio.
Rabiot, Berna, Dybala, Morata, Vlahovic.
Decisio's out.
De Sciglio, sorry. Enter
Yeah,
whoever. This match means nothing.
Yeah.
Means nothing.
Quadrado.
It's a farewell. It's going to be a farewell. Eric brings up a point that he says in today, he's curious to see the character of certain players today, because absolutely nothing to play for. And there may be players in limbo. These two matches won't build character. It will reveal it. What do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think you'll see? So I think it's going to be more for the younger guys. Like, watch, this might be hilarious. This might be a game where we just come out and play incredible ball when it means nothing, and all of a sudden things click. But no, like, I'd be looking to the young guys here. And when you have nothing to play for, it's almost like it's time for those auditions for Beyond and to see what you can use, who needs to stick around and whatnot. So it's going to be very, very interesting. If you look at this lineup, you have the potential of a lot of outgoing. Chiellini, obviously, his time's up. Dybala, his time's up. But Bernardeschi ain't going to be around, most likely. You know? You got Rabiot, Miretti in there. Okay, you could see Miretti go again, which is great. You got Vlahovic. Vlahovic he's a staple. Like, you know, Morata's potentially gone too. So it's like, what are we truly... We're not really doing anything with this game. For me, it's going to be the swan song for those guys, and that's all it is. When I look at this, we're not even gaining any terms of intel for anything that we can move forward. That's just how I see this. What do you guys think?
Omer?
Yeah, and Eric is right. The mentality would be interesting because we have nothing to play for. Lazio have a lot to play for. Yeah. So they are going to come out guns blazing. Maybe SMS has a point to prove to Juve. You know, go all out for me. I'm worth it. But to be honest, if it wasn't a farewell to Chiellini and Dybala, maybe even throw Morata in there, then I wouldn't have mind what would have happened. Like, start all the youngsters, let the Winter play. I don't know, whoever you want. Because it's the departures of Chiellini and Dybala, I do want the win. I do want them to, you know, go out with last final win at home to celebrate, because it will leave a sour taste if we lose this match and have to, you know, bid farewell in that fashion. If we would have won the Coppa Italia, then fuck it. Lose it 10-0. I don't care. But we do need to end this. I really want to finish the season with, you know, a bit of a sweet taste, and not on a loss to Lazio on the final game at home.
Yeah. And
I don't really care what happens today. Just no injuries, and let's see what happens with the farewell. Man, I would have liked to see a little bit of a different lineup. But no injuries. Just get no injuries. These games are kind of funny because the other team. So Lazio's up to, with a game in hand, obviously this game on Roma. That teams normally come out really tight on that. So I might be putting some Chicoria on Juventus scoring first and scoring early, right? So don't be surprised if that happens, because, you know, you get really tense. They need to get points. They have the tiebreaker. So Lazio's just playing for a draw. They'd be happy with a 0-0 the teams just stay in their own halves because that locks them up for 5th place. Let's see what the farewell does today. Hopefully, SMS has an absolute stinker, so that drops the price a little bit for next year for the summer.
Yeah, we'll just
Not
have to
gonna
take
happen.
this game for what it is. For me,
Mhm.
just I want to see those guys have a good send off, and it's is what it is. We get ready for next season. We're not getting a whole lot of intel going into next season based on this game, but I would love to see Miretti put in a strong showing. I think things are going to get very, very interesting there. It's, Rovella, Fagioli, Miretti apparently vying for one spot next season. It's interesting because when we talked about this the whole season, we were, saying you got to see Fagioli in Serie A. You like the Serie B loan and whatnot. That's great. Cremonese now obviously has promoted themselves. Miretti is ahead of all of them in a lot of fans' eyes. Miretti is the one that should get that spot going in next season. But I remain now. Obviously, we say this all the time. Things can change, and they could change like that. If all of a sudden Fagioli can, there's a potential chance of not renewing him if we don't integrate him in. I think it's right there for Miretti and Fagioli, and I'd give that one spot to Fagioli. Rovella, the thing that changed with Rovella, because he was balling for Genoa, the injuries. The injuries killed Rovella for that spot. I know he's still in the mix. I see Rovella being used in a move. I see it. Fagioli, for me, if you run the risk of not renewing, I give that spot to Fagioli. What do you guys think out of those three to give that one spot to if you had to?
If there's anything we should watch today, you're going to watch Miretti go head-to-head with arguably the best duo midfield in the league with Alberto and SMS. Let's see how he handles those two idiots, because if he can hold his own as an 18-year-old against grown-ass men who are, arguably the best duo in the league right now.
And they got a lot to play for.
And they're going to be full steam. So let's see how he goes. That if there's one thing we can take away from this match, let's see how the kid does.
Yeah. And obviously last match could be Fiorentina. Fiorentina also in that mix for one of those European places. If Miretti plays both these two matches, and let's say he does hold his own and he does well, does he leapfrog Fagioli even if you run the risk of losing Fagioli? Omar, what do you think?
No, I think Fagioli is ready. He's been through the same, career trajectory of Marchisio, for example. I think Rovella and Miretti still need some time in the microwave. They're not fully done. So loans, one of them will probably be used in one deal or another. I think it should be Rovella based on what happened this season. Miretti, Fagioli, homegrown players. Let Miretti go for one season loan, come back next season when we get rid of some more deadwood. And Fagioli is the one. He went through the gears. He deserves it. He hasn't done anything to not warrant staying in the team next season.
Yeah. There you go. It's going to be an interesting summer. It's going to be an interesting summer.
And we're going to be right here wrapping it up.
Oh, yeah. I'll be at the lake quite a bit, but don't worry. The videos don't stop. I'll keep you guys in the loop. I'll just be lakeside while doing it. Maybe even with a nice, delicious beverage. But, yeah. Now.
Fanta?
Huh?
Fanta?
The Fanta's only good in Italy, buddy. So,
Fanta.
So let's get to some predictions. We're not going to go through all the rigmarole. I mean, season's coming to an end, nothing to play for. But let's just have a little fun here and say some predictions. Let's go with just our own personal predictions. Let's say full-time scores, goal scorers, anything out of the ordinary. We're just going to have fun. Omar, how do you think this thing's going to go? What do you see as a final? Any interesting moments for Chiellini? Will Dybala score? Will Chiellini get one?
Look, there was a report that Chiellini might start and be subbed off after like 10 minutes because he's not fully fit, which will be ridiculous. I'd rather throw him in there in the last 10 minutes than the first 10 minutes. but hopefully it's just nothing report, and he will play until the 60th minute and sub, gets his applause, does his round around the pitch with the fans. What do I see? 2-1 Juve.
2-1 Juve victory. Will Dybala get one?
A penalty, yeah.
He's going to take a step up.
Maybe one final free kick, because we haven't scored one since Sarri season. So maybe
if we get a PK, let Chiellini take it. Let Chiellini step up and take that PK. Remember when Barzagli? They had Barzagli step up and take that?
Yeah. The Chiellini deserve. I just think he's going to blast a bird in the stadium. It's either top corner or a gift to a fan. That's how it is with defenders.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making live wagers right now on the game. That's a little disrespectful to Lazio, don't you think? Like letting Chiellini take a penalty shot. That's a bit of a who gives a shit.
I don't care.
I'll make live wagers right now. You guys pick a scoreline. I'll put a bet on it. Pick a scoreline.
2-2 draw.
I think it's going to be a draw as well. I think. Oh man, 2-2. That's a lot.
Oh God, what if he misses it? Come on.
People wouldn't care. They'd let them
any worse
take it 2-2
if he misses. But I'm just having fun anyways. Obviously, it would be Dybala.
I think 1-0 Lazio is a good scoreline.
I think 2-2. I think 2-2. I do think Dybala gets on the score sheet.
I already put money on that, Al. I got that covered. 2-2. I got it covered.
I think Sarri will drop the ball. He's not good under pressure.
Sweet. I think it will be a goal fest tonight. A goal fest. Ooh. And Amesh's biggest joke is thinking we'll get a penalty.
Wait, is Allegri off for the game?
So we're going to wrap up with one.
Is Allegri
anyone know?
Because of the red card?
Does anybody get a red card?
No.
Allegri got a red card.
Of the red.
Oh, yeah, you got that red card in the Coppa Italia.
Now if Lucci is managing,
who knows anymore? Anyway,
if it's Landucci, it's 5-0 Juventus. I don't even care what people say. It's 5-0.
We're not playing this Landucci game again. No matter how many quality signings we make in the summer, are you guys confident in Max? So this is a Storm the Barn question. Anth, are you confident in him?
No, I was. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt next season. Fully fit lineup. That World Cup's going to throw a couple of wrenches in there. Am I confident? Confidence is a very vague term because you can have varying degrees of confidence. I would be on the lower end of the scale of confidence.
Omar?
No, I have no confidence.
Or no confidence, as Omer says.
No, we've talked about it. This season, the way he played this season is similar to the way he played in all of his seasons. He only scores when he have to. Every time we have a big match, we have to go down to climb back up, and then we go into a defensive shell. When we lost 3-0 to Real Madrid, we came out guns blazing, got the 3 goals at the Bernabeu, went back to a defensive shell. Every time against Barca, against the Real in the final, we just score when we have to and then go back to defending. And I haven't seen it change one bit. I hoped he would improve that. So I don't see him changing it next season. I hope he will. I hope I'm wrong as usual. But right now, it didn't give me any reason to be confident in his style of play and approach to the team.
Yeah. King Kong better get the guard of honor. Let's do something right this season. Fully expected. Last Storm the Barn comes in from Luca. Paul said how content we are with management decisions lately, but what do we think of them not renewing Paulo and yet again signing older players on high wages? Looks and feels too familiar. So, Ant, if you're ready to go, you can take off. I'll give my thoughts after.
Yeah, it doesn't look and feel the same for me only because of the other players that they're targeting and the players that they want out. I understand the sentiment, and we spoke to it a little bit earlier on the show today. They're mixing it with young and old players. Before, they were always kind of targeting older players. I think bringing in 1 or 2 old players and 3 or 4 younger players to help balance it out, I don't have an issue with it. I don't think they're loading up on older players. I think Cherubini and Oliva Bennett earned a lot of confidence in us based on that January window.
Yeah.
So let's let them cook a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's
Omar,
see
your
what
thoughts
they do.
on? Sorry, Ant?
No, let's just see what they do this summer. I think they've earned a little bit of slack.
Yeah. Omer?
The reality is you can bring quality world-class players without top wages. No one will come for 3 million. So you can, like, keeping Dybala for high wages is a risk because then you don't sign someone, and what if he's injured again all season and blah, 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 and then you're stuck with him for 3 seasons. So you have to take the gamble, but if you want Pogba, you need to pay big. That's just how the world is. And, be grateful that it's 8-9 million, because look at what other teams are spending on these players, how much they're paying to some of the guys that sit on the bench. We didn't have it all that bad. Dybala, it's just nature. It would have left maybe now, maybe in 1 or 2 years, but it's done. I'm sorry. It's just done.
Yeah, for me, with this management, it doesn't... I understand looking and feeling familiar if you're literally just taking in some age, some wages and whatnot, but I think it feels differently because of the fact that the roles and the guys actually make sense for what we're missing. Whereas in years previous, it literally just felt like patchwork. And some of the guys made absolutely no sense in coming to the team and what they had to offer based on the players we already currently had on the roster. So I actually like quite a few of the targets we're in the mix on, because when I look at this team, it makes sense. These are the guys we could use and move forward with. So
Yeah,
looking a little bit familiar, but feeling at the same time quite differently. So is what is. Ultimately, I agree with Anthony whatnot. Like, it's just for the amount of work that they have to do and the amount of cleanup that we're truly seeing here, even after a strong January and whatnot, the potential outgoings this summer, like, they're gonna have a hell of a job to do.
It might take 2 summers.
Yeah.
You might not. There's a good chance we won't get it all done this year. It might take another summer.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
buckle
So
up.
it could potentially be that couple seasons. But
Yeah.
here we are. Farewell. We're still gonna do a post-match pod tomorrow. Hopefully, just covering Giorgio Chiellini and really diving into his career with Juve, Dybala, and whatnot. And then we'll talk some more of those outskirts. Hopefully, by then we have some reports that we can discuss in terms of Pogba, because right now there's been nothing more other than the meeting commencing and taking place as we speak. So we wait and see, but we'll cover it all tomorrow. You guys have been great as always. Like the video, okay? Reminder to subscribe, and good luck to all of you, because later on this week this jersey will be given away. Quick reminder, also check out stripedtartsapparel.com, and the commemorative King Kong tees and hoodies are out. Check these bad boys out. All right, as always, much love. Thank you for all the support. If there's content you would like to see, or shows or segments that you think would be interesting and entertaining, drop it to us. Okay, we're getting a lot of great comments on our videos on YouTube. By all means, if you want to see something, if we can do it and put it together for you, we will try our best to do that. Jeremiah, thank you very, very much. Again, like the video. Anish, ciao. We're very sorry to hear you are in bad health at the moment. Hopefully speedy and quick recovery. Amico, try to kick back and hopefully enjoy the match for what it is today. Okay, glad you were able to at least make it here at the end. Okay, again, as always, till tomorrow, fino alla fina, forza Juve. Let's enjoy the send-off for King Kong, Paulito, potentially Alvaro, Bernardeschi, some others. It's going to be an interesting one. But let's see if we can pull a result too. And eyes on Miretti, everybody. He's going to have to deal with 2 idiots, couple of good idiots, but he's going to have to deal with them. Let's see what happens. Ciao.